jersey. This is Madden NFL 21 on EA Sports. And the New York Giants taking on Dwayne Haskins and the Washington football team.
We welcome everybody to the Garden State. EA Sports coverage of the NFL finds us at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. This is the scene just before we came on air. This New York crowd fired up by the arrival of their G-men as they burst from the locker room. They're ready to go as the Giants get set to match up with the Washington football team. Time Panther Graham Gano has us set for a start as we are underway from MetLife Stadium. Now this will make it into the end zone. And this will go as a touchback, and they will begin things at the 25. The former Ohio State Buckeye Dwayne Haskins ready to run the controls for the Washington offense.
And for Dwayne Haskins, a little bit of an uneven season for the former first-round pick. 7 starts as a rookie. Team went 2-5 in those games, but I did see him get better. I thought his last couple of starts were his best ones of the year. He's a guy with big potential, big arm, but remember, was just a 1-year starter in college as well. Plenty of experience yet to be gained.
Now Haskins on first down. And the catch made by Dontrell Inman. And they're able to get this one across the 35. 13 yards on the game's opening play. And a completion there by Haskins. And you think back to the 2019 draft, both Dwayne and his counterpart on the other sideline, Daniel Jones, first-round picks in that draft. Jones taken 6th, Haskins 15th. And they might be seeing a lot of each other for quite a while here in the NFC East. And his throw's going to be incomplete. Steven Sims, the intended receiver. And that'll bring up second down.
I think he's got to be careful not to force anything into coverage right there. There weren't really any throwing lanes. But the best part for him, he's got second and third down to fall back on.
They work again from the 38 on 2nd and 10. A run here for J.D. McKissick. And he's going to be taken down here with a penalty flag on the field.
Illegal block in the back. Offense.
Hey, we're going to do what we do.
So this will be accepted as it moves the offense backwards.
Still second down.
Second down, Haskins over the middle, and it's incomplete. Dontrell Inman, the intended target, but now it'll be third down. And that one's going to be off target and incomplete. And well. An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on third down. Haskins going to throw again. And that's incomplete.
You can tell they wanted to get that ball downfield. They had nothing working in the secondary, so he dropped it off to the running back. That one ended up incomplete.
Here's the Pro Bowl punter Tress Way on to punt for Washington. Back deep, Golden Tate. It'll go as a 42, make it a 43-yard punt. 6 on the return, and it'll be Giant football 1st and 10. So now here are the Giants as they'll get their first opportunity here. Leading them out, the man known as Danny Dimes, their second-year quarterback from Duke, Daniel Jones.
A little bit of broken record time, partner, because we know that this young man, Daniel Jones, was a surprise pick at number 6 overall. But I thought that he got better and better as the year went on in his rookie year. A lot of trial by fire. Needs to protect the football better while in the pocket. But when he's at his best, he can throw it and run it. And he's an ascending quarterback. 24 touchdown passes as a rookie.
And he takes this up to the 40-yard line before being corralled. That hold coming from the middle of the line, the center.
And it's difficult for him because sometimes you've got people right over you, and as soon as you snap it, trying to get your hands up and block them, you can be a little bit late getting it done.
Now Jones, operating from the gun, finds his tight end Ingram. Without the previous penalty, that would have been a first down. Instead, it's just a gain of 10.
It certainly feels like there are more stars at the tight end position than there were even 10 years ago. And I think it's become more of a glamour position because of the ways it can hurt a defense, and guys want to be involved. They can be in line, close to the line of scrimmage. They can split out like receivers. But hands, route running, speed, and some toughness to go across the middle, you put it all together, you got a heck of a tight end candidate.
Well, Saquon Barkley last year against Washington, he won many a fantasy league with his performance in Week 16. 189 yards rushing. That was the 3rd highest single game total in the NFL all of last season. They'll try to run for it with Barkley. And he's going to have the first down at about the 38. And they have the first down with that gain of 4 yards.
We all love to have a home run hitter in the backfield. Guy who can take it the distance. But in short yardage, trying to pick up first downs, that big guy, always a nice luxury to have, isn't he?
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. From the gun, Jones. And the Washington pressure gets to him. He will go down. Matthew Ioannidis busting through to get him for a loss of 6. And no matter what the situation, the O-line just hates that because they feel like they didn't protect little brother back there, right?
Man, that's just so difficult for them because just think about every single play. When you decide to throw the football, you're dealing with some of the best athletes on the planet. You talk about guys, if they weren't playing football, they'd be starring in the NBA at power forward. It's a really difficult task.
Work to be done here on 2nd and 16 after the sack. Jones with a handoff to Barkley. Found a little room there as he's up to about the 37. It's a gain of 4, but they're still looking up here at a tough 3rd and 11.
A gain of 4.
Some of the most unselfish players on any football team, defensive tackles, because we ask them to just eat up blocks and allow other people to make tackles. But when he can make a play himself, as we just saw there, that's a big day.
Jones on 3rd down, and that is incomplete. And this is too far behind his man. He missed him. It's incomplete.
In a 4th down.
Fourth down, so on is the punter, Riley Dixon. Steven Sims set to return it for Washington. And he'll get credit for putting him inside the 20 as the fair catch is made right at about the 19-yard line.
For the Washington football team, 1-4 through 5 weeks of the season, losing at home against the Rams in Week 5. But, Charles, even with the loss, the story of the game, no doubt, was Kyle Allen getting knocked out. And then enter Alex Smith. First time in 693 days that he had been active, thrust into action. Remember the gruesome leg injury back in November of 2018. He had 17 surgeries in 9 months. Almost had the leg amputated. And here he was back on an NFL field. And although the stats weren't great, CD, how neat to see him back out there.
It's beyond neat, and I've heard a number of people say it. It's not an original thought, but it's something we're all thinking. They can just go ahead and give Comeback Player of the Year to Alex Smith right now. You know, there really is no other competition, because what he came back from, what you just said, from almost having his leg taken from him to starting and to playing in an NFL game, that's off the charts. And I loved how you mentioned it during the broadcast when you said the one thing missing would be, you know, is the 80,000 people at FedEx Field to give him a standing ovation. That would have been very, very cool. But still, the moment, overwhelming. I don't care about the score. I don't care about anything else. And the only other thing is what set the stage was Kyle Allen elevated to starter, and Dwayne Haskins not dropped to 2, but to number 3 and was inactive for the game, which made Alex Smith the backup, and he was available when Kyle Allen got hurt.
Well, one quick story, you know, the first time he got hit was Aaron Donald jumping on his back for a sack, and then you could see Aaron Donald on the sideline after mouth. You could read his lips. He said, gosh, that guy's leg's pretty strong.
Oh, boy, that's so great to hear, isn't it? And you know, in the heat of the moment, you just play the game. But, you know, Aaron Donald, somewhat relieved as well that his leg was really strong and no other damage came as a result. So for this Washington team that's really struggling, trying to make changes, 2 division games coming up, at the Giants, home for Dallas, and frankly, both are winnable before an open week in Week 8.
Here's McKissick. And down he goes at the 49, a 3-yard pickup. Three yards on that last carry. Here's 2nd and 7. Now they'll look to Haskins to throw it. And a quick throw here, that's complete. And they're going to have another first down as the tackle's made at the Giants' 40. 11 yards there, first down.
First down, Washington.
Well, remember, they tried to give him the ball and let him run on the last play, but I think the light bulb went off in their play caller's mind, and this time they get it to him the more conventional way, and it's much more successful as well.
On first down, it's Haskins. Open man here, Sims, complete. And he's finally taken down, and it's a big gain there on what will turn out to be the final play of this first quarter.
Washington with a football here to begin quarter number 2.
As they've got it with a 1st and 10.
They run with a former Buccaneer. It's Peyton Barber.
And now they're inside the 10 as he's brought down at the 9. He'll get a nice chunk there on the first down run, and it's 2nd and 4.
It's a pickup.
That's a really nice job by them picking up the run blitz and detecting it and blocking it and turning it into a nice run. And a lot of times you think if you blitz a running play, you're going to smother it. But a lot of the blitzers, they come in a little bit high. They don't have great leverage, and they're easily blocked and turned to the side.
Incomplete, but a penalty flag is down in the backfield. Let's get the call.
Offense.
So that one a hold right guard.
And you understand why offensive and defensive linemen probably go to martial arts schools and work on their hands so often, because that could be the make or break difference on a play. This time he had to grab a jersey in order to make the play happen. Got caught for the penalty.
They'll come up now on a 2nd and long after the hold. Here's Haskins to throw.
They'll set up the screen for Gibson.
And he takes it in. Touchdown, Washington. From 19 yards away, as his guys are first onto the scoreboard here this afternoon. There are several elements to a well-executed screen pass. This one resulted in a touchdown. It had all of those elements.
Yeah, you're so right, because you really need the rush to almost get to the quarterback, almost get to the passer. Then you've got to get the ball thrown perfectly, whether it's to the running back, the wide receiver, whoever the screen guy is. And, of course, the blocking has to form in front to get him downfield for the touchdown.
It's good, and Washington will take a 7-0 lead.
So that drive in total 8 plays.
And it was polished off by a Washington touchdown.
Dustin Hopkins.
Following the touchdown, Dustin Hopkins will kick it away.
This will make it into the end zone, and it'll come out to the 25 as he will not attempt to return. And the ball goes back to the New York Giants, and obviously, Charles, not the way the Giants fans wanted to start this season, 0-5. It's not a silver lining, but they have been in quite a few of these games, including Week 5 at Dallas, losing 37-34. Yeah, I would say, though, if you look at the NFC East and how down it is, they're not out of it, right? I mean, they're only a couple of games out of first place at this point.
Yeah, you just mentioned before it wasn't a silver lining. That last part you just brought up, that is a silver lining. Just a couple of games back in the NFC East. So if anyone could ever get on a semi-hot streak and win 3 in a row, they could break this division wide open, and the Giants have to say to themselves, why not us? Now, here's a great opportunity to gain some ground coming up. 2 games within the division, host Washington, and then a Thursday night matchup in Philadelphia. Both of them out there for the taking if the Giants can put it together.
Here's 2nd and 7 now from the 28. Now Saquon Barkley. And he'll get about 4 across the 30 to the 32.
Saquon Barkley, the ball carrier.
On any running play that's called, they're always hoping that it's going to break big and go the distance. But when you get a nice gain like that, you're able to do so many things anyway. You can come back and run essentially the same play again, continue to move the ball on the ground, or you can decide to throw the ball now, because usually you have the defense back on its heels.
An extra man in the secondary for Washington on 3rd down.
Throwing Jones. Got an open man. It's Ratley. And he went nowhere. He'll lose yardage back to the 29. And a loss of 3 to bring up 4.
If you're a selfish player and you're throwing the ball, you're cool with the completion. Maybe not so cool with the yardage loss, though, huh?
Yeah, you went backwards on the yardage. Hey, it kind of works like a sack for the defense there.
Yeah, it's a really big play for them, right? Able to figure it out, sniff it out, and finish it off.
Here's Riley Dixon now, as he'll punt it away for the 2nd time. It'll be a 39-yard punt, no return.
And it will be Washington football now with a 1st and 10.
Out comes Washington's offense as they get set to take over here.
Things progressing to plan so far. Their defense has been solid, and they've got themselves a 7-0 lead after the touchdown the last time they had the ball.
And this is no time to even think about, hey, are we going to milk the clock? Hey, are we just going to do ball control? This is the NFL. 7-0 leads, they don't last very long unless you continue to push the envelope on offense.
Haskins and the Washington offense going to come up here 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line. Off of play action, he'll look to throw. And the giant rush gets home as down he goes. Give the sack to Lorenzo Carter.
Well, so much for setting the tone of the drive offensively. Giving up a big sack that loses that kind of yardage, not a great start.
Now then, after the sack, it'll be interesting to see what they have planned for 2nd and 23. Here's Haskins out of the gun. And this one incomplete. Too much contact to hold on to that one, and it's 3rd down.
Well, as we get ready for 3rd down, let's go back and recap here. The sack on the first play of this drive, that threw a wrench in what they were trying to accomplish because they were compelled to throw the ball on 2nd down. A running play was not in the works. And that incompletion set up another passing down here on 3rd and long.
He's going to hit his man out of the backfield, complete. And he's going to lose yardage here back to the 14-yard line.
That's a nice clip and save sequence there defensively because they did everything as they would have wanted to. They forced the 3rd down, blanketed the field with coverage, nowhere to go with the football, forced the dump off to the back, and even then they closed quickly and got him down behind the line of scrimmage. You name it, they did it well in that last sequence.
Here's Tressway now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. 46 on his first kick, this one in that neighborhood as well. They'll call it a punt of 44 yards. The return was for 7, and out will come the offense as they take over. New York ready to go again offensively. And 3 and out on the last drive. No points on the scoreboard. A little soul-searching now?
I would say so, and they need to help out their defense a little bit. They've had to be on the field a lot more than normal, put them in some tough spots. But what's the old adage? When you get another chance, it gives you a better chance to do it right.
Jones and the Giants now with a 1st and 10 on their side of midfield at the 47. He'll drop it off with Saquon Barkley.
And he's got it across the midfield stripe and into Washington territory. It's a 6-yard gain on the ground, and that'll make it 2nd and 4.
A 6-yard.
Even though they gave up more than they wanted to on that play, it actually illustrates how well they bottled him up throughout the game because that was his longest run of this contest.
2 minutes on the clock, 2nd quarter, 7-0 ball game. A reminder that when halftime rolls around, Jonathan Coachman will have all the highlights and analysis of this first half of play from our studios in Orlando. Finding Sterling Shepard for his first catch. A gain of 5, good enough for the 1st down.
1st and 10 at the 43-yard line.
Jones now throwing on 1st down. He'll complete this to Ingram as tight end. That catch good for only a couple.
That was a nice throw out there to the flat, but they defended that pretty well. The hope is to go ahead and put it on him so he can turn and get upfield and gain additional yardage. There just wasn't anywhere to go on that play.
So 2nd and 8 here after the pass play for 2 yards on 1st down. Operating from the gun, Jones. Quick hitter here, it's complete. And he'll get it down on the play to the 37.
Good throw, good catch, but I really like the route. The drag and being able to run away from defenders, hard to stick with them for that long.
Yeah, better against man than zone, or?
Better against man, because now you're running away from someone and you're not running into a defensive player in another zone.
And Tate's got it.
And they're going to have another 1st down here as the tackle's made at Washington's 9-yard line.
12-yard line.
From down at the 12, it's 1st and 10.
From the gun, Jones. And he will take it on in for a giant touchdown. A 12-yard touchdown grab. And the Giants are an extra point away from tying up this football game. And a little time left on the clock, so on the other side, they're thinking, gosh, we'd like to get that lead right back.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Here I am going ahead and tapping out the first half. There's still time. They've got to make a decision about what they want to do on the kickoff, or they want to let their return guy touch it.
Graham Gano on for the extra point. It's up and good, and we're tied at 7 here in quarter number 2. 5 plays there on that drive. And it was polished off by a Giants touchdown. So all even at 7 now as they kick it away.
Fielded a couple yards into the end zone. And this return will net positive as he gets past the 25 and up to the 27-yard line.
At their own 27-yard line.
Look at Washington as they come onto the field.
And we're under a minute to go here. What's been an even first half, all tied up.
Yeah, still time to make something happen, too. A couple completions, just string them together. Could get into field goal range. Let's see what happens.
On 1st and 10, it's Haskins. Inman has it over the middle. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line.
And Washington now going to use the first of their 3 timeouts,
as they'll stop it with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half. One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. Out of the shotgun, Haskins firing quickly here, and that's complete. Now Washington going to use the second of their 3 timeouts as the clock will stop with 37 seconds to play in this first half. Facing a 2nd and 2 after that last catch, good for 8 yards. From the gun, it's Haskins. This is caught by his tight end, Logan Thomas. And they're going to have another first down as the tackle's made at the Giants' 36. 15 yards on the play, first down.
First down, Washington.
You don't always expect tight ends to be big in terms of run after the catch, but after that play, he joins a growing band of players that's putting that stereotype right on its ear.
So from the 36 now, 1st and 10.
Now we've got whistles here before the snap, and I believe this is going to be on Washington.
Offense.
Maybe anticipating a blitz, and they jumped.
Yeah, and if we saw it, you know that they saw it. The bad guys might have been coming on that play. Had to pick them up, and they jumped.
So 3 seconds here remain in the half. On is the field goal unit to see about getting 3 points. So this will be spotted on the midfield logo. It's a 58-yard attempt. So a touchdown apiece. That's what we have to show at halftime as they head to the locker room. 7-7 our score. As we'll send you down the coast now to Orlando. That's where we find Jonathan Coachman ready with our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
Okay, Brandon, thanks very much. And welcome in, everyone, to an abbreviated version of the EA Sports Halftime Report. We thought this one would be a close battle coming in, and we have not been disappointed. But they are all even to this point. So to see if either side can pull away, let's get you right back out to Brandon and Charles for the start of the second half.
All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. Set and ready to go for the second half. One touchdown apiece, 7-7 our score. This taken in about 4 yards deep. And no fireworks to start the half. This will be a touchback. New York set to take the field. They have a chance to break our tie here as we get a look at the first drive of quarter 3.
And it's such a tone setter, isn't it? Because both sides trying to seize momentum to begin the half. What do they have dialed up that'll give them an advantage to move the ball downfield?
Let's find out what they have dialed up. Jones and the Giants now with a 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Second half begins with a run from Barkley. And this has been a familiar sight all afternoon as they stop him behind the line. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
This defense is just flat getting after it. They have not given up much of anything in the run game. Case in point right there.
At the 23, it's 2nd and 12. Operating from the gun, Jones throwing the out route incomplete. It's Tate. That catch good for 5. It's 3rd down.
Never make the mistake that the slot receivers, especially the little guys like we're watching here, are just quicker than fast. A lot of them combine quickness and speed, and they catch a lot of footballs as we just saw there.
An extra man here in the secondary for Washington on 3rd down. From the gun, Jones. And this is going to be incomplete.
Certainly appeared to take away his first read, and by the time he tried to look elsewhere and find an open target, the coverage was too good. That one falls incomplete.
Here's Riley Dixon now as he's on to punt for New York. Fair catch called for and made at about the 32-yard line. 36 yards on the punt with no return. And possession will switch hands, 1st and 10. First possession of the second half now for Washington. Their defense did its job, yielded no points. Now it's the offense's turn.
And how much fun is that when you set things up to start a half and you just tell you guys, hey, if you can shut them down, get it back for our offense, we can roll. And they played out perfectly. Now, can the offense do what they wanted to do at the half, which is find those weaknesses and now attack them and score some points.
And break this tie. They will run it. It's McKissick. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. 2nd and right at a yard.
He was brought down by James.
First play of the drive. Let's give credit all around. Excellent blocking, but the guy carrying the ball, he was the finisher. A really nice run.
The last run got 9. That leaves them with 2nd and a yard. They'll go again with McKissick. And he'll be taken down at the 46-yard line. 6 yards the pickup, and that's a first down.
2nd and 1 is often an invitation to take the big shot downfield. I'll bet the offensive linemen said, are you kidding? We just get on our backs and let's go get the first down. They love being physical.
They'll run with McKissick. And he's going to get this past the 50 and into Giant territory. It's a 6-yard pickup, and it gets him to 2nd and 4.
Well, I think after that run, the defense is getting back in the huddle and looking at each other and maybe starting to question their confidence a bit. They gave up a significant run, 6 yards, and now you're saying to yourself, how do we stop them, and do I have enough confidence to make a play?
And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. 11 yards there, first down. The running game fully in sync, 1-11 on that play.
And sometimes it comes from the offensive coordinator, understanding what he thinks the defense is going to do and dialing up the perfect play. Sometimes the quarterback, though, can look at the defense, realize he needs to change it to a run, and that gets it done in a big way as well.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. Operating from the gun, Haskins. And he's going to get this down near the 20-yard line. Another nice gain, 16 yards there, and a first down again.
How about a guy proving his worth in different ways? Had a big play in the run game the play before. This time, they go right back to him in the passing game, and he comes through with yet another big play. That's why you work out so hard in the offseason, so you can stay on the field and accumulate big plays.
Three tight ends in the ball game here on 1st and 10. A carry now for McKissick. He'll get it inside the red zone, but only for a couple down to the 19. Now we've got a Giant player here slow to get up after that last play. We'll get an update when we return to MetLife Stadium. Second and 8 coming from the 19. Now it's Haskins. That's complete to his tight end, Sprinkle. And he'll go down here at the 12-yard line. That was play number 7 on this drive, and it got him 7 yards.
Completion was given up, but that's why you play zone defense, so that you can have people around the ball when it's caught, and you don't give up much run after the catch.
They missed a field goal on their last drive. Here they need something to even get into field goal range on 3rd down. Under pressure, and he'll go down. Back at the 26-yard line. Leonard Williams, the former number 6 overall pick, got the sack that time.
You and I both know we're into a whole new realm of football because we're not just looking at tendencies anymore. We're looking at analytics, and I've got to think the analytics on 3rd and 1 say run the football.
So out comes a field goal team now for the 2nd time here today. This a 43-yard attempt. Hopkins' kick is good. And it's 3-0 Washington.
Makes this Washington 10, Giants 7.
So he missed that field goal earlier, but he says not this time. Able to knock it through, give his guys 3.
I like his poise. I like his confidence, his belief in himself. Sometimes when you miss that first one, you'll see a lot of guys sag and they can't make the next one. Not in this case. Stepped right up like a pro.
Following the made field goal for 3, Hopkins now to kick it off.
Fielded just outside the goal line. And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line.
First and 10 at their own 28-yard line.
Back on offense, New York gets set to take over.
And a tight game after punting last time. See if they can get something going on this drive.
As they head to the field now, with the game this close, you've got to feel there's a sense of urgency for them going on offense right now. But they have to do it without letting panic creep in and affect their play.
Jones and the Giants now with a 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line. From the gun, he'll set up to throw. He's going to let one fly for Tate. And nearly picked off there, and it would have been a great time for their first pick. Instead, it's 2nd down.
Well, you got to think that sooner or later, they're going to hit one of those, but the coverage has been excellent thus far, and it was again on the last play.
3rd quarter from MetLife Stadium. Here's a 2nd and 10. Now it's Barkley. A pickup of about 3 yards as he's taken down at the 31.
Saquon Barkley.
Well, that's a good start to this drive on the defensive side of the ball.
Forcing completion on 1st down. Then you're able to shut down the running play on 2nd.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised now. A little bit of pressure going at the quarterback in the expected passing situation.
Here's Jones to throw on 3rd down. Looking for Shepard deep. Into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Fabian Moreau. And they're going to take over right there at the 22-yard line.
Well, I tell you, Brandon, this ball's intercepted, but it is 3rd down. So the silver lining is that since this is so far down the field and there wasn't a big run back associated with it, really this kind of works like a punt. It's not an altogether bad result.
Now we get another look at Washington on offense. Their defense has done the job. Now it's the offense's turn as they've got it 1st and 10. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he's going to get this one across the 30-yard line. A gain of 11 to kick off the drive, and it's a quick 1st down.
A gain of 11 on the play. 1st down, Washington.
And that is going to do it for this 3rd quarter of action. We'll return with more after this. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. From the gun, Haskins. The throw taken in by Sims.
And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. 23 yards on the play.
Well, it may seem a little unorthodox to some people. Got the lead, fourth quarter, yet he's still firing away. I think he believes that's the best way to go ahead and win the game.
Yeah, a lot of coaches say, let's just run the football, be conservative. He's sticking to his game plan.
No, that is his game, and that's what they're going to ride.
Going to give this time to the tailback. And he'll be brought down at about the 42. Just a yard on the first down carry, so it's 2nd and 9.
Well, sometimes you just have to give credit to the defense. Great job there at the point of attack, holding up. They won their battles at the line of scrimmage, left him no space to try and run. A really nice job swarming to the ball carrier.
The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. Operating from the gun. Haskins looking for his running back, and he's got him. Give him 8 on the play, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 1.
Oh, I came to my feet on that one. I thought he was getting close to breaking that one big, but in the end, give some credit to the defense, finding a way to get to him and forcing a 3rd down.
Heavy set out there on 3rd and 1. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he's going to have the first down yardage as he's down at about the 30-yard line. They're able to convert with a gain of 4.
I think we're seeing the effect that runs like that are starting to have on this game. They're a little bit slower, that front 7, reacting to the football, almost like body blows in boxing, slowing them down, and they're really starting to take over in this game.
Right back to him on first down. A short gain here, maybe a yard to the 29.
The ball carrier.
So where'd all that running room that he had in the first half go? Because it looks like it's drying up a little bit here. Someone made some adjustments, it appears, at least on this drive.
Here's 2nd and 9. From the gun, Haskins looking for McLaurin, and he's got him. And he'll be out of bounds just inside the 25-yard line. 6 yards is the pickup, and that'll lead to a 3rd down. Tell you what, he's been able to put the ball in some tight spots all game long. That throw, no different.
Yeah, a lot of people would call it a gutsy type of a throw. I think he looks at it as, I can do it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm going to keep firing.
They'll try and run some clock here as they keep it on the ground. And he will be very close to a first down, but I see the closed fist of the referee, and that means 4th down.
A gain of 3 yards. It's now 4th down.
So the field goal unit is on the field as this is a big spot right here. This will be, let's see, 38 yards out. And Hopkins' kick is good. And the lead stretches to 6 here. It's 13-7.
13. Giants 7.
So they get to 3, but you wonder now, is that going to be enough?
Excellent question, because when I look at the smiles on that side of the field, they're a little tight, aren't they? If they had scored a touchdown there, those would be big half-moon grins right now because they'd feel a whole lot better about their position.
And a touchdown in the other direction, all of a sudden they're down. Following the made field goal for 3, Hopkins now to kick it off. Taken in at the 3. And he'll be stopped up at the 25.
First and 10 at their own 25-yard line.
Here's the Giant offense now making their way back out onto the field. And that last turnover could have proven more costly, but their defense only gave up 3. But now answering with a field goal doesn't do them much on this drive. They need to try and find the end zone. Jones and the Giants now with a 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. He'll set up to throw from the gun. Catch made by Slayton. And he'll be out of bounds just shy of the 40. A big play on the catch and run, covering 34 yards.
That could very well be a defining play in this game. A touchdown, that gives them a lead, and they took a major step towards getting there with that big play right there.
So the big play gets him across midfield now for 1st and 10. Operating from the gun, Jones. Oh, that was dangerous. Threw it into coverage, almost picked. But instead, they'll keep it on 2nd down.
Leads to 2nd and 10.
I guess they're in a situation now, 4th quarter, where they're forced to take some chances, but I don't know that that was the type of a chance you want to take.
And that one could very easily have been intercepted. And if it does get picked off, that could possibly seal this one.
Now Jones throwing again. Gets this out to Saquon Barkley. And he gets this down inside the 35 before going out of bounds. That'll leave them with a 3rd and 2 coming up. They got 8 yards there.
And we see another pitch and catch there to the running back. This position just continues to evolve. They become just as critical to the passing attack as a lot of receivers, tight ends, because their ability to make people miss in the open field can really generate big plays for an offense.
And he picks up the 1st before he's taken down at the 29. Just 4 yards on the pickup, but that's good enough to extend the drive.
And we tend to give those running backs that are slashers a lot of credit, but how about guys who are maulers? Because that's what you want in short yardage situations, and we just saw that occur right there, didn't we?
Vertical, downhill running. Fourth quarter, down to the final 2 minutes, and we've got a 1-score game. So it's Giants football here as we welcome you back. They come up on a 1st and 10, desperately needing a score here on what could be their final drive. This ball complete. Jones to Ingram. A good rally to the football. Keeps him to only a yard, and it's 2nd down.
But they picked up a little bit of yardage there, and now, in this situation, should be in no hurry to run a play really fast. Let the clock wind down.
Clock rolling as the Giants will hurry to the line. He's back to throw. Flushed out right. He turned that into a nice gain. Gets him 8 yards closer for 3rd down.
Brings up 3rd down.
They'll get to the line here, but remember, it's also 3rd down. They'll look to throw. Flush to his right, and he can't get a throw away. He's taken down. That's Thomas Davis on the sack. Came in the league way back in 2005.
Like the footwork back there, I thought he did a pretty good job of evading that first wave of players. Tried to buy a little extra time out of the pocket, but in the end, oh, that was a tough one.
Yeah, winds up getting buried for the loss. Jones throwing on 4th down, and that is incomplete. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and Washington will have it on the turnover on downs. Well, you feel the excitement build on those fourth down plays. Defense has to stay out there, but for the offense, when that thing doesn't work out, such disappointment.
It can absolutely be a deflator, but how about the defensive guys? If they stop you on fourth down, they are absolutely elevated going to their bench.
They're elevated now. Big stop on fourth down. Out comes Washington's offense as they get set to take over here.
And this game not quite in hand yet. We'll likely see all 3 timeouts defensively and then reassess where we are. They're coming out with a jumbo package to start the drive. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he's stopped right at the 25 after a gain of 5. The Giants going to go ahead and use the first of their timeouts, as it'll come with 36 seconds to go in half number 2. Here's a 2nd and 5 now from the 25. Going to give this time to the tailback. And he'll be upended at the 28-yard line. Just a 3-yard gain there. Now the Giants will use the second of their 3 timeouts, as the clock will stop with 33 seconds remaining. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he is going to have the first down, and that is going to suck the life right out of this crowd. The Giants going to burn their 3rd and final timeout as they stop it with 28 seconds to go in this football game. From the 32 now, here's 1st and 10. Haskins down to a knee, and his guys about to come away victorious.
I don't know about you, partner, but watching them take the knee there and finish this one off, I feel like I'm going to be sore tomorrow. This was one bruising affair. Low scoring, but my kind of football.
Not a work of art, but maybe in your world, a little bit of a work of art. You like the defensive side.
I thought it was pretty. I can't help myself. I thought it was pretty.
And it ends in a kneel down as the clock rolls down to 0.
So a victory here for the Washington football team.
And it was their defense that really made the statement after the break. They pitched the second half shutout.
Yeah, think about the team that just got vanquished. They did score in the second quarter. Do you think they thought at all that that would be their last points of the game?
No, but what a second half. The adjustment, whatever they did in the locker room, it certainly worked.
It certainly did, and you're exactly right. Whether it was an adjustment, whether it was just more focus on what they planned to do going in, whether they just played better, whatever it was, it all came together in the second half, and no points were allowed. That's a great way to close them out.
So that'll do it for us. For my partner, Charles Davis, and all the hard-working men and women on our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL right here on EA Sports. With that, we sign off from MetLife Stadium.